Hello and welcome to the Last Looks podcast, a show where we catch up with talented hairstylists and makeup artists in the film and television industry. We'll pick their super creative brains and find out all the good stuff. Join me, your host, Jamie Lee, in finding out what's what in the hair and makeup departments around the world.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
Now is the time to listen up, makeup artists. Do you struggle to cover eyebrows? Wonder how other artists do it so well? Would you like to learn different techniques to have the confidence to conceal those brows in a jiffy and have them look fabulous? Well, now you can. Last Looks Workshops is in collaboration with the one and only makeup artist Karen Jackson from the Makeup Refinery to bring you our Bye Bye Brows workshop. Join us in Tinseltown, Los Angeles to learn from the best in the business, Karen Jackson. We have limited spaces and they will be snapped up fast. For more information and to secure your space for our Bye Bye Brows workshop, visit lastlooksworkshops.com today.
And now, our feature presentation.
Today on the Last Looks podcast, I'm speaking with makeup artist Angela Levin. Angela shares some incredible insight into her world of personal makeup artistry. Jennifer Aniston, Michelle Williams, Melissa McCarthy, and Nicole Kidman, just to name a few of the wonderful women Angela looks after. Angela is a true professional and her passion for her work is infectious. Welcome to the Last Looks podcast, Angela.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Absolutely. So nice to have you. Now, I would like you to finish this sentence for me, okay?
Okay.
Once upon a time, there was a girl named Angela, and when she grew up, she wanted to be...
Anything but a makeup artist.
How would you have even had that thought?
Well, just the background of my life was so that my father had precious stone jewelry business in Italy, and it was always expected of me to kind of take over that sort of side of the family. My brother was not very interested in it, and so it was sort of a thing that, and always my father was teaching me, in fact, if you ever need to buy a ring, I'll go with you, because I still know all that there is to know about jewelry and diamonds and stones and all that.
Of course.
So that was one option. The other option was I was born with an enormous love to animals. Mm-hmm. And I always thought that my life would somehow involve caring for animals, making their life better, the world of animals better. But then this really strange thing was happening that if you would just stand next to me for more than 10 minutes, somehow I will figure out how to put a lipstick on you, or pluck your eyebrows, or do your nails. Uh-huh. It was just something that I was doing. And I remember at the time, a friend of mine said to me, he says, you really need to be a makeup artist. You do it all the time. And I said, what? What does that mean? Like, you can't make a living by putting makeup on people. And he goes, oh, yeah, you can.
How old were you at this point?
I think I was 16 or 15, living in Israel. Yeah.
Wow.
And so I started to just look around and inquire. And I remember the day that I went to my dad, who was expecting me to become, to inherit his business. And I said, Dad, I'm sort of having second thoughts. I hear there's a profession called makeup artist, and I sort of want to explore it. And he said, do whatever makes you happy, because you always will succeed at something you love. And if that's what you love, that's what you need to do.
That's an awesome answer.
Yes, he was a very special man. And so we looked around. I've enlisted in a school in Tel Aviv. At that time, I was already, I think I was after high school. I was sort of starting my army service that in Israel you have to do. And somehow we managed to figure out that towards the end of my army service, I started going to, there were only like 2 schools of makeup in Tel Aviv. And so I picked one and I did very well in it. And at the end of it, my teacher, who was also the owner of the school, said, you must continue to study. You're very talented. And I think one day you're going to be a big makeup artist. Mm-hmm. And, those words are still kind of in my mind. I don't think he's around anymore. So I asked my father to send me to a school where there's more to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And we picked Los Angeles because my brother was here at the time.
Oh, wow.
And the rest is history, yeah. But my education was really movie oriented. I had no interest in beauty makeup. I had no interest in bridal makeup or any of those things. It was very hardcore movie, hardcore special effects, and that's what I was learning.
And how did you kind of steer towards that side of things? Because as you say, I mean, there are so many different paths you can go down doing makeup. So what made you think of doing more film stuff?
Well, I've enjoyed films a lot and I was getting very busy at it. I think that what happens sometimes, our preference simply change.
Mm-hmm.
And first, I was hired because of my special effects abilities. And then the producers will say, well, could you also be a department head? Because it'll be easier if you can just be a department head. And then I became a department head. And then they said, well, are you able to do beauty makeup? And I thought, well, that can't be that hard. Whatever I do for aging, I'll do the exact reverse for beauty. And there you go. And so I started perfecting my beauty makeup and I started falling in love with it because special effects is a very technical, creative side of things. The emotion in it is very minimized because you create it all in a lab and then you apply it. The person becomes, your surface of application.
Mm.
When you do beauty makeup, in a sense, you have to log on to the emotion of the person you work with. It's very important for you to understand how they're feeling about it because being it's beauty makeup, they have to, you get your trophy when they look in the mirror and they absolutely love the way they look.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you've done your job right.
Yeah.
It's not whether you put the eyeliner in the right place or you choose the perfect lip color. It's just a general thing that when they look in the mirror and they go, oh my God, I look amazing, that's how you win. And in special effects is a little different. They can look in the mirror. They'll be great if they love the way they look, but essentially is what the producer, the director, the camera is seeing that matters.
Yeah.
So I started doing beauty makeup and special effects. And with time, there was more beauty and less special effects.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I was getting really busy and I thought, okay, well, if I do have to do some extraordinary special effects makeup, I should hire somebody.
Yeah.
And so I don't have the time to deal with it myself. And little by little, I changed. But, it's important to realize that nothing is really set in stone. Like,
Yeah.
you can decide, all right, this really was my thing 5 years ago, and now I'm attracted to something else. I feel that it's important for you to be agile that way, in the sense of, just go where it feels great. Do what seems, especially when your business is based on a creative level.
Yeah.
Because creativity is its best, whether it's comfort and love and interest. And so make sure you have those elements around you.
Absolutely. Don't want to get bored.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I don't quite know how we can in this industry, but still.
Yes, it's got its challenges, no question. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I just have to go back a couple of steps and just say how
Sure.
amazing it is that your teacher at that time gave you such a positive reinforcement.
It's unbelievable. I
Yeah.
remember it like it was yesterday. He put one arm on my shoulder and looked me straight in the eye, almost like he wanted to make sure this really gets in.
Yeah.
Of course, it took forever. It's not, today's different being a makeup artist. In my times, it's just you have to go through a very long, exhausting road of where you think nobody will ever hire you. You may not be able to pay your rent. And I was like, oh, he maybe he was wrong. Maybe I wasn't. But what I didn't realize is that it just takes time. It takes time, and it does take a lot of. You just have to stick with it, and stick with it in the most loving way, like not sticking with it and hating it, but sticking with it and loving it.
Yeah. Good aggression, not bad aggression.
Exactly.
And mean, so coming up through all of that and going to the couple of different schools and moving countries and all that type
Yeah.
of thing, did you ever kind of have any mentors along the way, people that you kind of worked with or under that just kind of showed you the way a little bit or helped?
Yeah, well, I had many. I had friends that, well, I had makeup artists who then became friends. One that I always still very grateful to is my friend Linda DeAndrea, who basically, she's now retired. She's living 5 minutes from me in Burbank City. And I met her on a show. I now don't even remember what show that is. I think she was looking for hairdressers, actually. And somebody she knew recommended me. And then she hired me as a hairdresser, realizing I'm not much of a hairdresser, but she stuck with me because she knew that I really needed work. And we ended up doing a lot of work together, and a lot of opportunities came about because of stuff I did with her. And I never forget that because, we had a bit of a difference in age. So she's already is accomplished everything one has to accomplish. She's won Emmys and Guild Awards and is very, very known in her field. And especially in the world of movies, not so much press and red carpet. I don't think that, people that do movies and TV shows don't really often go into press and red carpet and photo shoots. It's kind of like two different things.
Yeah.
But in her field, she was very successful, and I learned a lot. It's not just about the opportunities that were brought; it's also about observing and learning how to do, how not to do, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
I also had a wonderful makeup artist. His name was Alfonso Noé, who was one of the first ones I've lost at the AIDS pandemic, and he was a beauty artist, and he was a very elegant man. And an incredible makeup artist. And he just kind of took me under his wings. And unfortunately, we lost him, and it was the hardest thing to get used to. It was a long time ago. So nowadays, when you get to my age, you hear, oh, so-and-so just died. Oh, so-and-so just... So you're almost like, oh my God, really? Another one? But back then it was like, what?
Yeah.
We were supposed to live forever. So a lot of the style of application, I think, I've gotten from him.
Wow.
And a lot of how to live in a world of movies and TV, I got from Linda.
Right.
Because Linda was really a hairdresser, but she also could do beautiful makeup. Yeah.
Yeah. That's an awesome mix to have a little bit of both from.
Yes.
From
and in fact,
cool.
I see Linda all the time.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's chat about some of the projects that you've done and what are a couple of your favorites.
Before I tell you about that, I gotta tell you, there is this thing I do that whenever I do a show that I enjoy very much, then it comes to an end. I always say to myself, am I ever gonna do another show that will be more fun than this one?
Right.
It's almost like a challenge that I pose, like, is there going to be a better one than this? I mean, this is amazing. This is probably going to be the most amazing movie I've ever done. But throughout the years, I've done a lot of stuff. The ones that come to mind when it comes to movies and TVs, of course, First Wives Club.
Yeah.
I did Bette Midler on it. I met Diane Keaton and Goldie Hawn, and we've been friends and worked together since. I also really enjoyed the Golden Compass that I did with Nicole Kidman. We shot that in England, and it was an experience like no other.
Yeah, I mean, what an adventure it seems.
Yes, an adventure it was. I also think of Queen, which was a television miniseries that we shot in the South. And my friend Linda, that I've mentioned, was a department head hair, and I was doing makeup. And that was a tough movie dealing with issues that we are still dealing with today. I also loved Big Little Lies. It was shot in LA mostly. Of course, Marley and Me, Stepford Wife, is when I actually met Nicole Kidman. Van Helsing, I was in Prague for a long time. Some of the dearest people, friends that I'm still in touch with, I've made on that movie. And last but not least, The Morning Show. The Morning Show with Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer and I worked on many, many, many projects together.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a, just even within your favorites, there's, I
Yeah.
mean, of course, so many different reasons why they're favorites, but they're also very different projects.
Yes, I like variety. I like
Yeah.
to mix it up, as they say. But I also got really, really lucky with the wonderful actresses and actors that hire me.
Yeah.
And I think that makes all the difference, really.
Absolutely. I love how I feel like your positivity just shines a light on how horribly negative I can be. Because
Oh,
when you were
no.
saying that when you finish a job, you're just thinking, will I ever work on something? This is, amazing again. And I feel like I get to the end of a job sometimes and I'm like, am I ever going to be this exhausted on a job again? Is my next job going to be this exhausting? And I've had fun, of course, and met amazing people. But I think when I think that thought, I'm at my most tired.
I agree with you, and I'm right there with you. I am really, it's exhausting. It is hard work. And I actually had a conversation about it with a friend of mine. Her name is Sarah, who works with us, and she's a producer. And she said, there is something to be said about being able to create incredible projects,
Yeah.
amazing movies, without having to exhaust your crew. I mean, you actually get more done and better work when you make this not a 15-hour day.
Yeah. I mean, not just the crew, the cast. I've worked on
The
things where the
cast, of
number
course.
one and number
Yeah.
two are just like every day,
Yes.
all
Yeah.
day, just emotional, like giving all
Yeah.
day. And it's just like, oh my God, how do you get through this?
I think that, I think there was a time where people assumed that if something was really, really hard, then you might really, really succeed.
Right.
And I don't think that's true anymore. I think that we are modern society where we a lot of times figure out ways to make things easier.
Yeah.
And by doing so, we allow ourselves to be more human and less. I just did a movie in Europe. We did a movie called Murder Mystery 2
Oh, yeah.
for Netflix, and it's with my dearest, dearest, dearest love of my life, Jennifer Aniston. And right next to it, Adam Sandler, who I absolutely adore.
Yeah, I watched the first one. It was fun. So this will be
The
it'll
first
be
one
great to
was
watch.
a
Yeah.
lot of fun, yeah. And this one we shot in some in Hawaii, which was amazing, and some in Paris. And the French crew is very specific about how many hours you can work.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we are not that tired. And all of a sudden, comes the weekend, we actually can enjoy a whole weekend. We're not spending it just catching up on sleep, And we were admiring how they got everything. They got great stuff within, within those 8 or 9 hours. And they
Wow.
break for lunch and they break for an hour.
Yeah.
And there's no negotiating that.
Yeah.
And so
And it's possible.
it is possible. And they make incredible movies that we give Oscars to.
Yeah.
And so it really kind of got us all thinking. We were like, look at that.
Yeah.
So if there was ever a question of what would be the changes that you would want to see going forward, I would say that would be one of them.
Yeah.
I think that
It's a big one.
It's a big one. And I think that nowadays, some of the studios are run by business people, not so much by filmmakers.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a business and you take out the emotion, the art of it. It's all about how much is it going to cost me and how fast you can do it.
Yeah.
And you do lose the charm. I sort of hope that, of course, there are studios that are still like, Steven Spielberg's, which, oh, by the way, I forgot to say, that might be one of my favorite movies I've ever done because working with my dearest friend and soulmate, Michelle Williams, and then being introduced to, Steven Spielberg and his incredible team.
And what film was that for, sorry?
So the movie has not come out yet.
Oh.
It's called The Fabelmans.
Amazing.
It basically tells the story of his journey from a child into becoming a huge filmmaker, and it concentrates on the youngest year of him. And
Oh, that's awesome. I'd heard that was being made. I know Gloria Casney.
Oh my God, we love my Gloria. In fact, I was texting with her just yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
She's amazing. Yes, I adore her to pieces. Yeah. And very talented woman. Very
Yeah,
talented.
she
Tiny little
is.
thing to show up and makes magic,
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that I must add that onto the list of incredible. There was one of those where I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Making movies in pandemic is a whole other
Oh, yeah.
story. So, but somehow they made it okay. They made it all pretty incredible.
Absolutely.
And you wake up in the morning and you just can't wait to go to work. You just can't wait.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love it. I would like to know, out of the projects that you have done,
Yeah.
if there's one particular job or a location or an actual makeup application itself that you can kind of think back and think that was the most challenging thing I've kind of done to date.
Well, every show has its challenges. I can't think of one particular that was challenging in a sense of the work itself, because a lot of times I look at challenges as an opportunity to get better and stronger. But I can tell you that at time of pandemic, we eventually got cleared to go back and do second season of the morning show.
Yeah.
And that because there were so many restrictions, it was on for about 9 months. And regardless of the amazing team and producers, and clearly Jennifer and Reese are just incredible. The cast was out of this world.
Yeah.
And the scripts were amazing. Working under a pandemic condition.
Yeah.
The constant worry of who's next is going to shut us down.
Yeah.
It better not be me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Every day, crossing fingers. Please, no.
Looking at the struggle of your peers and see how much harder it is for them as well. And also having to find some logic within all those weird rules that were popping up, like wear an orange vest. And I said, why are we wearing an orange vest? We're filming inside a stage. We're not prisoners at the side of the road. I don't understand. Does Corona doesn't like people with orange vests? I mean, just tell me why. And nobody could ever give a reason.
Oh, honestly.
There were a lot of things, and I think a lot of teams were hired to facilitate, almost like, here, we'll hire you and you guys tell us what to do.
Yeah.
But then they're in a new world of a pandemic that nobody's understanding. Nobody really knows.
No. I think early on I remember too seeing, I think it was before I'd gone back for my first job, and I remember seeing on social media people wearing like those white or blue like full kind of gowns and hazmat-y suit things and gloves and I was just like, okay, one of the first questions I need to ask when I'm approached about a job is what is your COVID situation? Because I was quite ready and happy to say no to a job if they were going to make me wear all that, because I personally was just like, no, a mask and a shield and keeping my hands clean and sanitizing things, I think is enough. I'm not walking around in the middle of summer wearing gloves and some type of hazmat suit.
Yes, I think that there is a world of logic that it's very simple.
Yeah.
And it is wash your hands. Don't scratch your nose and then touch people's faces.
Yeah.
Wash your hands, wear a mask. And even with the shield thing, I never understood, because I have glasses. And so I'm thinking, well, there you go. That's a shield. Yeah. And for us makeup artists to have glasses and a shield and a mask, I couldn't go up and down stairs. I was my brain was so out of whack. And certainly I couldn't see colors and I couldn't see details.
Yeah.
And they said, Angela, you need to wear a shield. And I said, no.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, okay. That's
I love
it.
it. I mean, it was a good day when they ditched the shields. I was like, yes,
Little by little,
finally I'll be able to see.
yeah, things were just falling, dissolving, and they were like, yeah, you know what? Actually, you don't need to do that.
Yeah. The challenge is just getting a little easier.
Yeah. So that would be the one that I remember being physically the hardest on
Yeah,
second
absolutely.
season of the morning show.
Of course. And coming up to where you are in your career now, has there been a piece of advice that somebody has given you that's really kind of stuck with you?
Yes. Let me tell you, the advice that was given to me and kind of stuck with me was be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Be prepared.
Yeah.
Which means a lot of times we've done the same person over and over again and we just roll out of bed and go do them.
Yeah.
But you must always be prepared. You might always approach a job almost as if it's the first time you're doing it.
Yeah.
Certainly, if it is the first time you do a certain client, I do my work. I look up pictures. I read a little bit about them just so I don't say the wrong thing. You know what I mean? I look and see what looks good, what doesn't. I make sure I have all the things I need to have in my kit. I always clean my kit, and sometimes you use something, you end up using the last one, and you forget to put it back in to replenish. I make little notes, make sure this. I have about 7 different makeup cases. It's hard to keep track.
Yeah.
So every makeup case has a pad and a pen, and I write down what am I missing. And so before a job, I open the appropriate case, I make sure I replenish. Be prepared. Really, just because it's a friendly kind of environment, it's not about being friends. This is a job. Be on time, be organized, be clean, and know what you're going to do. Ask all the questions in advance.
Yeah.
And know your thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Go and ready.
And I gotta tell you, it seems like such a basic thing. Like, of course, be prepared. But I do see people who come in who are just not prepared.
Yeah.
Have no clue what what is it that we're shooting today? Well, what was this scene again? Now, why are they da da da? And you're like, darling, you need to read this stuff. You need to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You need to be the one who provides the information, not the one who's,
Yeah. And when you're a head of department as well, you don't want to, I don't know, I guess feel like you're in a babysitting situation, that everyone's a grown up and they should be preparing themselves. Like they should be looking ahead to, on the advanced call sheet.
Yeah.
To be like, okay, we're doing this tomorrow, get my continuity ready, know what I need to do. I'll have this person coming in the morning. Like, you don't want to have to feel like you micromanage everybody and have to tell them all what's happening. They should be prepared to know what they're doing and have their own adult responsibilities.
That's very true. But what's shocking is that maybe to you and me and many others, it's a normal thing to just be an adult. But it's really no, not always. But because my business is now pretty much narrowed down to be a personal makeup artist to 1 or 2 artists the most.
Yeah.
I see things completely different. I approach it differently. I no longer, I believe that there are people that are better at running a department. I can do it. I think it's just too much managing human beings, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
So I let somebody else do that, and I just do my thing. And I often get asked, would you also be, because you're doing the number 1 on the call sheet, they're working every day, they're in 90% of the scenes.
Yeah.
So a producer will say, hey, do you mind also be department head? You're there anyway. You can do it. You've done it before.
Yeah, you're like,
and I always say, nope, you're going to have to give another job to somebody else. Because I just don't, I don't want to do something not completely and fully, and it's hard for me to concentrate on both. It's just
And I mean, when your talent is, they have an expectation of you looking after them as their personal, to be there for them.
Yes.
And if they feel that your energy is scattered or in so many other places, or that they're not getting, it's not that they're like, give me attention, but it is that they need that attention because
Yes.
that's what you're there to do for
Yeah.
them.
That's very true. Yeah.
So, I can understand not wanting to split yourself, because you just have to be splitting yourself in half to try and cover everything. And
Yes.
when you're looking after somebody, I mean, you're
Yeah.
there for them.
Yeah. It's just, I'm glad we're talking about it because it's a funny thing, when you're on a movie, you are part of a makeup team, but essentially, as a personal, you are really not part of that team. And so you do rely on the makeup trailer to help you out if you need, especially when it comes to, if you have a double or, a lot of times we just don't have the time to do them. So the makeup team or the hair team does them for us. But a different approach when you are a personal. And a lot of the differences are basically as a personal, everything you do is for, with, and to that one actress or one actor. This is your main thing. Like every question you ask is for them, and for you to be able to take care of them. When you're a department head, there are so many other things you are in charge of other than your actresses. I would say 50% of what you do is running your department, whether it is with your budgeting, whether it is making sure the enormous continuity is being organized, making sure the schedules, you have enough makeup artists coming in that day because you have so many extras. I never worry about how many extras I have. I couldn't care less. I just have to worry about what she's doing today and
Yeah.
do I have what I need. I just love concentrating on my actress because I love actresses. I love to help them do the thing they do. And so I know there was one of the questions that you were asking was, can you describe what it means to be a personal makeup artist for an actor?
Yeah.
And that's what basically it is. It's just like you take them into your heart and you give them, and they're your world. They come before everybody else. They come before the director. They come before the producers. They come before, I never say no to my girls. I always say, let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
Let's try to make it happen for you. If you need that, let's try to make it happen. There's so many reasons why an actress will decide to make you part of her team. And I think that there is a level of comfort that they feel that this person really loves me. This person really cares for me and really wants to make this easier on me. So
Yeah.
it's just a different approach. It's more of a motherly approach than don't move, let me just do your makeup,
Yeah.
So,
What do you think are some things that are important to remember when you are in that position?
again, you have to consider the actor before everything.
Right.
You have to really think about it. When they ask you for something, simply avoid using the word no.
Yeah.
Just take that word out of your lexicon of words you use. Always think about it. And don't determine that they're being annoying and they're being kids. Don't even go there. Just think of what they need and try to provide it. Don't judge. And by doing so, maybe they won't judge you either. You make a place of no judging. And again, the key word, be prepared, have everything. There are actors that are very sort of tight with their process. Like they come into you, they're not interested in hearing about, because they're working. So they're doing their lines. They just want you to do the makeup. They want you to do it as fast as you can, because the faster you do it, the more time they have to do other things.
Yeah.
And they want you to know exactly what makeup you're doing. Like, last night and the script, I didn't sleep all night. So today, when you do my makeup, don't put a ton of concealer on me. You need to know that today, this is the look. And so you learn so much from a job that includes an actor like that. You really learn how to do your homework.
Yeah.
You learn how to lay out on your station what you need don't put out everything just because it looks pretty. It gets in the way.
Yeah.
Lay out what you need, but know exactly where everything else is in case and you need to replace something. You just really have to treat this as a big business and take it very, very seriously. And don't assume that because you've been with somebody for 10 years, nah, they're fine, they'll get it, they'll understand. No, no, no. Do the best you can. Do the
Yeah.
best you can.
I guess it's
Because
not
there'll
getting
be
too
times.
comfortable, right?
Yeah, don't
people
get comfortable about it.
complacent and
You're done with the day, they ask you to come over and have a glass of wine? Yes. Then you go, then you enjoy, then you talk about this and that. But when we are at the working environment, I mean, I've been at vacations with my clients. We've celebrated their weddings and their birth of their children, But when we are working, this is work.
yeah.
You must treat it that way, even if the actress is your best friend, doesn't it? There's a lot at stake, it costs a lot of money to make movies, and you have to bring your best game forward, so to speak.
Absolutely. And when working with your actresses,
Yes.
how do you tend to tackle their skincare? Because it's the canvas that you're working with. So, and
Yeah.
especially on these long days, long shoots, how do you tackle that?
Well, nowadays it's a little different. When I was starting out, we did makeup, and with makeup, we did all the corrections. Then the digital revolution came in, and all of a sudden, we can see more details.
Yeah.
And if we make a correction, we're going to be able to see it on the screen. So our job as makeup artists has shifted a little bit in a sense where I tackle the skin routine with the actresses together. And it started, weeks before we even started shooting. And that means talking to the actor about what's your routine. Well, for this, I'm going to need you to add those products. Also, I'm involved while we're shooting in the scheduling of the facials and the face massage. Anything that touches their faces goes through me because I'm not interested in them trying a new procedure or a new cream. This might be a problem.
Yeah.
So, along with the assistants and the actress as well, we make a plan and we spend more time in the morning doing the prep for the skin, whether it is the proper moisturization, the proper serums, the primers. We spend more time doing that where I don't remember really caring about it when I first started as much.
Yeah.
And it's last time, so many of my girls are like, oh, don't worry about taking my makeup off. I just do it at home with all my products. When I first started, you always clean up your actress before she goes home. And now, it's up to them if they want to. But usually they like to go home, get into their steam room, do their thing. But you do have to have a conversation about it. You do have to definitely talk about it. And so when there's an open conversation, then if all of a sudden you have 4 days off and they decide to go and get a laser, they tell you about it. And you can say, oh, no, not a good idea. Not a good idea. I also, like to go with them and meet the people that do the procedures. I feel that this way I know exactly what's going on and it's not a mystery.
Yeah. And is this something that just because of that shift that you've just, have you self-educated in those areas?
Absolutely.
Or,
absolutely. One of the things that I love doing, and I recommend this to a lot of your listeners, is there are some incredible trade shows that happen around the United States, around the world. There's some in Los Angeles, there's some in Las Vegas, there's in New York, there is in Italy, in Hong Kong. I'm not expecting people to travel themselves to far distance places, but going to those trade shows allow you to see what's going on. Like, what are the new things? What are the new machines? The new, electric devices. Some may be good for you to have on your station to help, an actress after a long night. You know what I mean? You have to be in the know. And also, we have the internet. There's so much we can learn.
Yeah.
We have to always maintain, just like, even the greatest surgeons still go to places where they learn a new method, they hear a new lecture about. So are we. We should do the same. We should always know all the different makeups. With the Instagram explosion, it's hard to keep up because every 5 minutes there is a new company who
Yeah.
sort of pop up and then disappears. But still, you gotta sort of know, and if something seems interesting, maybe order it and check it out, see if it's good.
Yeah. How you say when you're going along with your clients to these procedures and to
Yeah.
meet these professionals, then I guess it's a great time to kind of be educating yourself
Yeah.
then as well, right?
Yeah. I mean, when I say procedures, I really mean like facials or.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, God forbid.
No.
I like to meet the facialist.
Yeah.
I talk about, I know you really want to do an aggressive facial, but she's filming tomorrow. So just would you please make sure you do a,
Take it
that
easy.
kind of thing. So that's very important. And I have not gotten any resistance really because it is a team effort. Your first most important prerogative is to make sure that you give them the best you can, and that's part of the setup.
Yeah.
And
that's
I'm
awesome.
never, I'm the one who will shove a bottle of water and say, drink some water. We shot half a day, you have not drank a sip of water. They'll
Yeah.
drink the water. I'll put a straw in it for them so it doesn't mess up the lipstick.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're still eating their lunch and they'll say, oh, after lunch touch-ups, we bring them in. And I will say, no, finish your lunch, eat your food. I need you to be fed. And then
Yeah.
come in. We can do this faster. All
Yeah.
kinds of stuff like that. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So when you begin a project and you are a personal, how do you approach the character design and development with your talent and then with directors, everybody that's involved in this situation? How does that normally work with you?
So that is a fun process. And I'm very particular about that part of it for me because it really worked throughout the years. The first thing I do, of course, is I get my hands on the script because that's the beginning of all beginnings. And I give it a good read, and I read it just as if I read a book. I don't read it with, oh, here is the girl I'm doing. That must be her character. I just give it a good read.
Enjoy it.
And I enjoy it. And I try to get with the story. Then I go back and I read it again. But this time I highlight the actress's role. And I see little details and little descriptions that the writer has put in.
Yeah.
And I write those down. So I know here he said this and there he said that. So that I got to remember that. And then I like to sort of concentrate on the role itself. And I try to get an idea of how I see this person. Who are they? And I eliminate the actress in a sense of I don't see Michelle Williams playing the role. I'm looking at the role. And then I bring it, in a sense to Michelle and say, I think she would be like that. I think she would wear this lipstick. I think she would do this, that kind of a thing. Then the next human that I talk to is my actual actress or actor.
Yeah.
And that goes, and the reason why I'm emphasizing that is because a lot of times a director has an idea, a producer want to make sure you do it with this and that. But the next person, after I study the script, will be my actor. And we kind of merge our ideas together. She tells me what it feels to her, and I tell her how I think we can sort of accomplish that using makeup and hair. A lot of times the hairdresser is part of it, as it should be, part of the conversation. Then I run around and I talk to the costume designer and I talk to this and I talk to that. And then once I have all the information, then I sit with the director. And a lot of times at this point, they have already had a conversation with an actress. It's important to talk to all the powers that be to make sure you know their story before you lock in yours.
Yeah.
Because even though we are artistic and we create, we are part of a team. If you are doing it this way and somebody else has an entirely different idea, that's not going to work. So you have to make sure that everybody is, as we say, is on the same page.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's about the actress. If she would say, well, you know what, I don't think she would wear this lip color, immediately we change it. We never say, oh, no, I think she would.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I've seen that.
Yeah.
And so the actor wears the role.
Mm-hmm.
You just help making sure it fits right, you know?
Yeah. And is that something that I guess it depends on how, just depending on the project as to how stylized, I guess, an entire project is, as to how much communication you have with the head of department to make sure you guys are kind of also in the same world?
Yeah, I mean, usually the people that are allowed to have personal are sort of on the top of the cast list. Essentially, they're in a way determine the sort of temperature of the whole movie in that in a visual sort of way.
Yeah.
So it is in the sense of collaboration, like we all have to work together, but we do those makeup tests.
Yeah.
And they're named wrongly. They're named like a makeup test. Like we're testing the quality of the makeup. We're really not doing that. What we do is we come together in a room, everybody does their thing, and then we see it on film.
Yeah.
And that's what really this is about. You meet your DP, you meet your department head makeup and hair, and a lot of times you already know them. You've probably done a few movies with them in the past. You meet the costume designer and you see the colors and the costumes, and everything sort of comes together. When I take it back. When there are scenes that involves a big cast, we kind of try to make it look like everybody's on the same movie, especially if it's a period time.
Yeah.
So
that's what I mean. If it's a little more stylized, then I guess you have to think of it
You kind of have to see pictures of their makeup tests, and sort of they see pictures of your makeup tests, and so pretty much kind of make it look like they're all in the same movie.
Yeah, but not all wearing the same colored lipstick.
Yeah, exactly. But when you do contemporary, it's really, you just come in and you concentrate on your one person, and that's it, and everything else sort of just. But nowadays, the American audience loves sequels. If they love a movie, they love to see more of it. They love to see more of those characters. So then when you come back for a second season or a third season, in a sense, that character has been already established. So you just kind of alter it just a little to match the new story. But those are pretty much, they have a name. I was just telling Jennifer Aniston the other day, because we're starting in August to shoot the morning show season 3.
Yay! I love season 1 and 2. I'll just say,
Oh,
great show.
Thank you, thank you very much.
Awesome.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I just saw Jen yesterday, and I said to her, I really miss Alex Levy, which is the name of the character that she was playing.
Yeah.
And she said, yeah, I do too. I'm happy that we're going to be with her again. And so it's funny because we very naturally spoke about the character as a third person in our little club.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, I think that the character has to be worn by the actress. It really is. It is something additional that goes on top of them. And so that is very important. And so we always expect the movie, the department, to adjust to the character, the main people, as opposed to the other way around.
Yeah, no, of course. It's interesting that you say that, because it kind of sparked a thought in my mind that when I finish a film, I am kind of saying goodbye to that character as well.
Yes.
Like, I'm never going to do this character again.
Yeah, you do. You
Like,
say goodbye to them. Yeah.
And
you
it's
miss
so
them.
interesting. Yeah.
It's the same like reading a book. Sometimes I get to the end of the book and I don't want to say goodbye to the story. I just pace myself so I can drag it a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's so true. Now, I'd love to know, and I feel like you have kind of mentioned points throughout this conversation, but what do you find the most rewarding in our line of work?
Gosh, there is so much. I think for me, the thing that makes me have my aha moment, as they say here, I see the expression of the person that is looking in the mirror, and I can tell if they're loving what they're seeing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times somebody will sit on your chair and they're a little nervous. They don't know what you're going to do, and this may not be what they want. And then there's that moment where they look and they go, wow, this is great. This looks amazing. And to me, to be able to provide a human being with that feeling is the most rewarding thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I really work for. And
That's awesome.
even if it's a drug addict makeup, once they look and they go, yeah, Angela, this is great. This looks great. That to me is the gift, really. Because now I'm like, okay, now you go and you perform and you allow me to enjoy your performance, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
That is very rewarding. But forget that. There is a lot of other things. If you do well, it's a financial reward. We make
Yeah.
a very nice living. A lot of doors open up. We have access to a lot of great things because of the line of work that we do. We're in an industry of abundance, even though it doesn't seem that way occasionally. But they allow us to stay in really nice hotels. They pick us up, they drop us off. You know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of perks in doing what we're doing on this specific level. But if I were to give everything up, that's that feeling of, you did it. This is exactly what I was expecting. To me, to get that sort of recognition is the one thing I would hold the most dear.
Yeah. And also those times where you exceed that expectation,
Yes.
where your input and ideas added with theirs have kind of taken it to another level for
Yeah.
them that they didn't think
Yeah.
even
It really
kind of
is.
consider. So
It's addictive to, and maybe that's the key to success, is it's addictive to be able to give somebody a joyful moment. It's really addictive.
yeah.
And I think that's my thing. That's the thing I love the most.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't hear that at the beginning of the day, but at the end of the day, somebody will say, by the way, Ange, thank you so much. You really made it easier on me today. That was amazing.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's my first payment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I think you have to love the people of which you touch their faces.
Yeah.
You really do. It changes everything. And I hope that artists will come to a place where they can pick and choose and they can say, I'd rather do this girl and not that girl,
Yeah.
because that is the fundamental, it's the base for a very successful journey in this world.
Absolutely. Now, being where you are today,
Yeah.
and kind of looking back at your journey, to someone who was kind of looking to get into this line of work,
Yeah.
or are already, starting and getting into it, what kind of advice would you give them? What would you want to let them know?
I would let them know that there are no shortcuts. So expect to have a long journey.
Yeah.
Also, don't ever look at the people that are doing the same thing and think that maybe you're not getting there fast enough, doing it right. Everybody gets there a different way. So don't
Yeah.
compare yourself to other makeup artists.
That's probably a very good point, because I feel like you can, if you let that kind of overtake your mind and thought pattern, it can get a little negative.
There is a lot of things along the way that may not really have to do with you, that will make you feel like you are not succeeding, you're not good enough, this is not a good idea. Don't make that be the judge.
Yeah.
Be positive, but also truthful to yourself. And that should be what will drive you. Also, be on time.
Yeah.
Be
Oh my
on
God.
time.
Please be on time.
Please be on time. You are
not that
not, the whole world can be late. You should be on time.
Yeah.
And also don't forget that you are an employee. And even though they ask you about your personal life and your issues, don't share. Do your work. Do your work. Just keep a positive outlook. People are drawn to positivity. Be positive.
Yeah, it's very true. I love
and
it.
do the best you can. And when it stopped being fun, stop doing it.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
I think some people kind of
Yeah.
don't do that. They just
Don't do
keep
that.
on trucking.
I think that my father would say to me, may he rest in the heavens. He always said, have a plan B. Because when you do have a plan B, you hardly ever need to use it.
Right.
So if there is an additional something you like to do, just kind of dabble into it, because you never know. You never know. There might come a time where they won't need us as much. I think those
Yeah.
times are coming and coming very close. There might come a time where they won't reward us financially the way we would want. So have a plan B.
Yeah.
And also, makeup artist, it's not a profession that allows you to carry it into your 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
But our body can still be great, but it's just, your hands start shaking, you start forgetting. Just do something else at that point.
Yeah, like retire.
Yeah, retire when still retire while the party is still going. Not
Yeah.
you know. And that's one thing, of course, we all talk about it. Our old timers, we think about a lot. We were like, I tell some of my friends, okay, when you see me starting to be a little old lady coming to the set, just knock me and tell me, okay, Angela, time to go. It's hard to actually gauge.
You'll be like, no, I love it.
Love it. One of my dear actresses and friends, she said to me, she says, Angela, you must never retire. Because when you retire, so will I. And she said, I want you to start considering an option just so you don't consume yourself of saying, I will do this show. I will only work 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
And then my assistant will take over after 10 hours.
Yeah.
And I thought about it and I said, God, if I could do 10 hours, I could probably work forever.
Yeah.
I look at a lot of my fellow makeup and hair that are in a makeup and hair team, and I say, my God, they look exhausted. They look so drained of patience, and they're just tired. And I'm like, I don't want to be that person. I want to have time to enjoy. Yeah, that's another thing that I want to tell as an advice to upcoming makeup artists. Don't forget to enjoy. The journey is the big part of it. It's what it's about. The journey is the reward. So enjoy it. Get a minute to love the things that you get and the life that you live. It is kind of a spectacular life eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I would love to know. So if we set you up in your trailer,
Yeah.
you had your station, you had all your bits and pieces everywhere, you're
Yes.
prepared.
Yes.
If I was to take away one tool or product from you, what would you not want to be without?
Oh my God, that's a tough question. This might surprise you, but my iPad.
Your iPad.
Yeah, because all my notes, all my research, all my communication to the world I am in goes through, well, my iPhone, but my iPad even more so because it's bigger. When you look at pictures, you get to see better details.
Detail, yeah.
It will be my iPad. And then the next thing will be alcohol.
Yeah.
And I don't mean vodka, I mean alcohol. Because
you mean isopropyl alcohol?
yeah, because I like to sanitize everything. I'm obsessed with cleanliness and sanitation, and I really it's one of the first things I make sure I have because I like to clean everything. I feel that there's better flow of energy in a clean environment. And by the way, I was always like that. My girls always laughed at me because I would come in the morning, I would put in some rubber gloves and I would spray the counters and wipe everything with alcohol. And they'll come in and they go, my God, this is the cleanest trailer I've ever seen. Yeah. So much so that I will have the transportation people provide me with an array of specific cleaning products because at the end of the day, I might be doing some myself before I let them come in, And then as far as cosmetics, there's the Kryolan, the Derma palette that has... I love that because no matter what, I can always pull something off just by using that. That's a good one.
Very good. I have to go back just to, because this is something also, just talking about the cleanliness and wiping
Yeah.
everything down and all that type of stuff. And I think most people are pretty good with it, but
Yeah. Now
I just am always trying to instill in people that I have working with me. It's
yeah.
just,
Yeah.
you have to just put yourself in the cast's shoes for a moment and walk into the trailer and sit down at your station
Yeah.
and look at it
Yeah.
and be like, would I want someone doing my hair and makeup with all of the stuff
Yeah.
that's here
Yeah.
at this station? Or am I sitting down into the middle of somebody else's mess and chaos
Yeah.
and looking at things going, I don't want that hairbrush to touch me?
Very true.
So I think it's a good thing to do every now and again, is just sit at your own station and look around and
Yeah.
go, would I want my hair and makeup done in this chair?
You have to remember, you have to always, we kind of forget, and when they come in and they sit on your station, it's like you have invited them into your own living room.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to create it a very comforting space.
Yeah.
And dirty is never comforting. Even to a dirty person, it's not comforting.
Yeah, but like in their own dirt maybe, but not in somebody else's.
Exactly. And I have seen, before the pandemic, I've seen people used up brushes on somebody else's face, a lipstick. You know how it is. We have a million lipsticks. They'll apply directly on some actor and then throw it back in their case and apply it again the next day on somebody else. There are times where I'm not available to do one of my girls. I created each and every one of them their own makeup case, because I say, unless it's somebody I know, if you have to go somewhere and have somebody do your makeup, have them use those brushes, have them use only one of those lipsticks and only on you, and don't mix it up with other people, because you never know. And I have to say, I was lucky enough that in all those years, nobody has gotten an eye infection. Nobody has gotten if they got a sore on their lip, it was because they had a fever, not because anything I had to do with the makeup.
Yeah.
It's very important. It's very, it's hard. It takes a long time to get a good reputation. It takes no time to get bad reputation.
Yeah.
So it's the same like weight. It takes forever to lose your weight, and you can gain it back in a minute. As I have learned.
Yeah. I think yeah, we've all learned that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So,
but I think that was kind of like a positive thing that kind of came out of the whole COVID thing was,
yes,
I found it hilarious, kind of as one of those things of just thinking that it's common sense and normal things to do, that the level of sanitation that you should have with your brushes and your kit and this and that, and people doing videos on social media about, this is how now because of COVID I'm cleaning my and it's just like, hang on a minute, I know you should have been doing that the entire time.
It's like,
how is this news to you or new? I don't get it.
It's very important. It's very important. I also believe that when you apply makeup with clean brushes, the makeup looks better. I don't know why. Maybe I convinced myself, because it is a lot of work to keep everything clean. Yeah, clean it up. Yeah.
Clean it up, guys.
Yeah.
And now, who would you like to hear on the podcast, Angela?
Oh, my goodness. The line is very, very, very long. Well, I'd like for you to talk to Richard Marin, who is the hairdresser who I have known and loved for many years. He is working with me on a show that I'm doing now called Unfrosted. He is the hairdresser for Melissa McCarthy.
Awesome.
I have met him at the times of Friends. He was one of the hairdressers in Friends.
Oh, wow.
And he's a very interesting, very kind, very creative man who I'm sure will have a lot of fun stories to tell.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that Bill Corso, who is the makeup artist department head and a very well respected and regarded makeup artists in the movie industry will be interesting for you to talk to as well.
Yeah. I have reached out to Bill a couple of times, but have not heard back. And I don't know, maybe my emails are going into his spam.
Oh, let me
And
talk to
he's a busy man. So, yeah, if you want to whisper in his ear, please do.
Yeah. I'll talk to him on Tuesday. I also, well, because it's mainly for the movie industry, I wish for you to talk to an up and coming makeup and hair, because I think that sometimes it's interesting to also talk to somebody who's in it. He's in the world of becoming known and growing, and talk to them in a sense of what is your struggle now.
Yeah.
More than, oh, those people all made it. What was the struggle? Simply because times are changing. Yeah. What was the struggle for me may no longer apply to somebody who's in it now. But it's always, because it's called last looks, it should always be people within the industry, right?
Yeah, I tend to television and film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my wheelhouse. That's what I know. So
yeah, I get it. I think it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed speaking to you today, Angela. Just the positivity and the passion that comes through is awesome, and I've enjoyed it so much. So thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure. It was really a lovely visit.
For links to see more about our guests, go to our Instagram at The Last Looks Podcast or our website, thelastlookspodcast.com. If you want to keep up with new episodes being released, be sure to subscribe through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Google Play, YouTube, or any podcast streaming platform. And remember, if you're enjoying the show, share it. The Last Looks Podcast would like to thank Brett Stanley and Sabrina Castro. The song Fun Time by DJ Quads. Thanks for listening. Until next time.
That's a wrap, people.